Hi everyone, hope you're all well. In today's video we're going to talk about website URLs. We'll talk about what they are, why they're important, and how to go about getting your own URL for your own business website as well. So website URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator, is the address used to locate and access a specific website on the internet. It's commonly referred to as a website address, and it really just tells your web browser where to find a specific website. Same as how a physical address has different parts, like a street name, house number, and city, URL also has different parts to it as well. So here's an example of a website URL. The HTTPS part, so the part in red, tells your browser how to communicate securely with the website. The www.example.com is the domain name, so the part in orange, and this is the main address of the website, essentially the name of your website, and it's the memorable part of the website that people will use to kind of access your website as well. And then the last part, the part in purple, is the path that leads that to a specific page or content within the website. This part is optional. If we didn't have the purple part of that link, it would just take us to the home page, which would be the www.example.com. And the part in orange is also known as the website domain. So you can think of the URL as a combination of the website's name, so the domain, and the specific location, which is the path of the content that you want to access. The website domain is made up of the actual website name and also something called the TLD. And the TLD is basically the .com part of the URL. TLD stands for top level domain, and it's the highest level in the hierarchical domain name system, or the DNS of the internet. So TLDs are the last part of the domain name, and they appear after the final dot, and they help categorize and identify the purpose of your website or the nature of your website. So really common TLDs include .com, which are used mainly for commercial sites. You have then .org, which are used for non-profit organizations. .net are used for network-related services. You have .edu for educational institutions. .gov are mainly for government websites. .info are good for sort of informational websites. And then you have .io, which is relatively new, but they're usually for tech-related or startups, businesses as well. There's also other less popular TLDs like .mils for any military organization, .int for international organizations. And there's also country code top-level domains as well that represent specific countries or territories, such as .us for United States, .uk for the United Kingdom, and .ca for Canada, etc. TLDs really help in distinguishing and organizing websites based on their intended purpose, their geographic location, or other categorizations. When registering a domain name, you typically choose a TLD that aligns with the nature of your website or your organization as well. So how do you go about getting your own URL or your own domain name? There are general steps to getting your own domain name. The first thing that you want to do is choose a unique domain name. And you want to choose something that's unique and memorable that represents your website or brand. Later in this video, we'll cover some tips to buy a good domain name. But you want to consider things like using keywords that are relevant to your content or your business. And then you want to ensure that the domain name is available and not already registered by someone else. Next thing you want to do is select a registrar. So a domain name registrar is a company that allows you to register and manage domain names. Some popular registrars include GoDaddy, Namecheap, and Google Domains. And what you can do is compare prices, features, customer reviews, and choose a registrar that suits your needs. You can use each registrar has a search function that allows you to enter your desired domain name and check if it's available. And if it's already taken, you might need to choose a different domain name or consider an alternative TLD. Once you have your domain name picked and it's available, you want to follow the registrar's instructions to register it, and you'll need to provide any contact information and then pay the registration fee, which is typically an annual fee. And then lastly, once you have your domain name and you own it, you can just set up, you need to configure DNS settings and point your domain name to the actual IP address of your web hosting server. And you can manage your DNS settings through your registrar's cPanel or using a separate DNS management service. But this is something that your hosting provider can take care of for you. In terms of buying a domain name, so that process is pretty general for all of the domain names. For example, we can go through GoDaddy's domain registration process. So GoDaddy is a really popular domain name registrar, and it's one of the largest and most well-known domain registrars in the world. It offers a wide range of domain extensions, so the TLDs, and they provide registration services for popular TLDs like .com, .net, .org. And apart from domain registration, they also have various services to help you manage and enhance your online presence, and these include web hosting, website builders, professional email addresses, SSL certificates, things like that. GoDaddy's main aim is to offer a comprehensive suite of products and services for individuals and businesses. In terms of pricing, GoDaddy's pricing for domain registration can vary depending on the specific TLD, and they also have lots of sort of promotions as well. They tend to have discounted prices for the first year of domain registration, after which regular renewal fees will apply. And in terms of support, they offer customer support through phone, live chat, and email. And they also have a large knowledge base with FAQs, tutorials, and guides to sort of assist users as well. Their support is available 24/7, so you can reach out to them whenever you have a need or any kind of assistance. But they are a well-established domain registrar, and they manage sort of millions of domain names every year, and they're providing domain registration services for many years, so it's a good choice to go for. But the overall process of choosing a domain and registering it is the same across domain registrars. So Namecheap, 123reg will also follow a similar process, but they just might offer different pricing and they might offer different services as well. So the first thing that you want to do is, once you have a domain name in mind, you want to click into their search function and you want to just type the domain that you want, including the TLD. And then you just want to click on search domain. GoDaddy will then let you know if a domain has been taken, so in this case it has. And what GoDaddy tend to do is that they will give you an alternative, and they'll try and look for an alternative that's either the same domain name but a different TLD, or if you scroll down, they'll show you other domain names that have are either a similar name or have different endings as well. So if a domain name is available, then then it's fair enough, you can add it to the cart. If not, you might need to go for one of the alternatives. And they essentially, and you can browse through all the alternatives, and you can browse through the pricing as well. So just be careful with the pricing, because they tend to show, they do have a lot of discounts on the first year of registration. So you can see now this pricing here, it's actually showing up as 1 penny. But if you look at the fine print, it is for the first year with the 3-year registration. So you have to register that domain for 3 years, but you only get that pricing for the first year, and otherwise it goes back to the $11.99. So just be aware of sort of any kind of the discounted price as well. Once you've selected a domain, you just want to click on Make It Yours. And then you just want to click on Continue to continue buying it. It's worth noting that you can buy multiple domain names as well. You can also buy multiple domain names with different TLDs. And some people like to do that, so they own the rights to all of the domain names, and they tend to not just point the other TLDs to the main website that they're using. But it's not necessary, you can just stick with the one domain name. Then it'll ask you to for any kind of add-ons, and this is the extra services that GoDaddy provide. So what GoDaddy do with all of their domains is that they include free privacy protection to guard your personal info. What that means is that when you are buying your domain, because you are providing your contact name and info, that info is can be looked up using the Whois database, so people can check who owns a domain and they'll be able to see your contact information. So in order to protect that, GoDaddy will protect all of your personal information, and it'll basically replaces your info with proxy information in the Whois directory. If you'd like to find out more about finding about who owns website domains and how to find out who owns a website domain, please click through our YouTube channel. We do have a video on that as well. But yeah, so that comes with your domains anyway, the free privacy protection, but they also offer a more advanced form of privacy, which includes advanced security to prevent hackers from stealing your domain. And then you have the ultimate domain protection, and this is pretty useful because it allows you to hold on to your domain name for an extra 90 days if your billing method expires. So what that means is when you register a domain name, you are typically registering it on an annual basis, either a 1-year term, 2-year term, 3-year term, things like that. And that means you have full rights to own it, and you can point whatever website to it at all. And you don't even need to point a website to it if you don't want to. But after the 3 years or whatever billing term that you select, you no longer, unless you renew your contract or your registration, you will lose access to that. You'll lose the rights to that, and that means anyone can go in and buy that because it becomes available for anyone to buy. So if you've built up a lot of sort of SEO traffic on it, you've built up a brand on it, it's quite a risk to in case your billing method does expire. So what the ultimate domain protection does is that even after your billing method expires, it will still give you a 90-day sort of window to buy back that domain if you need to. So each of these add-ons just add on another price per year. But if you don't want any of that, you can just stick with the free privacy protection add-on. But it's just something to be aware of whenever you are buying these. They'll also have offers on email addresses and things like that. If you want to add the Business Essential, Microsoft Business Essentials, and if you also want people to start building your website, they'll also build your website for you, as GoDaddy have their own website builder, and they come with a lot of templates and themes as well. But once you're happy with your selection, you just want to click on Continue to Cart. And you can see your cart here with overall what you're paying for. So right now we have the pricing for 3 years, but you can select as little as 1 year and as much as 10 years as well. There's more savings the more years that you have it, but obviously you'll have it for a longer period of time. And then once you're done, you just want to click on I'm ready to pay, and after that it'll ask you to create an account and ask you for your contact information and billing information as well. But after that you'll have full access to your domain, and then all you need to do after that is choose a hosting provider, point your domain to the hosting server, and then build and upload your website essentially. So how do URLs affect your SEO? There can be an impact on SEO as they play a role in how search engines understand and rank your web pages. In some ways that they affect your SEO is one way is through relevance and keywords. So essentially, if you include keywords in your URLs, it can provide search engines with valuable information about the content of your web page. Clear and descriptive URLs that incorporate target keywords have the potential to improve your search engine rankings. For example, a URL like example.com/product/bluewidgets is more informative than example.com/p12345. User-friendly URLs that are easy to read and understand can enhance the user experience. Visitors can quickly identify what the page is about just by looking at the URL, and a clean and logical URL structure can contribute to better user engagement and may indirectly impact your SEO by reducing the bounce rates and increasing time on page as well. And then shorter URLs are generally more preferred over long and complex ones. They're easier to share, easier to remember, and easier to crawl by search engines. There's no specific character limit. It's advisable to keep URLs concise and focused on the main topic. And then a well-organized URL structure can mirror the hierarchy and structure of your website. And this can aid search engines in understanding the relationship between different pages and overall website architecture. So for example, using subfolders for categories and subcategories, like example.com/category/subcategory/page can provide a really clear structure for both search engines and users. Canonicalization and URL canonical tags. URL should be consistent and avoid duplication to prevent potential issues with duplicate content. Canonical tags can be used to indicate the preferred version of a URL when multiple versions of the same page exist. So canonicalization helps search engines understand what URL should be indexed and displayed in search engines. If you change your URL or move content to a new location, implementing proper redirects like 301 redirects is really important. This way, search engines know that and users know they're going to be directed to the new URL, and that SEO value of the old URL is transferred onto the new one. Redirects helps preserve your rankings, prevent broken links, and maintain the overall integrity of your website structure. It is important to note that while URLs are a factor in SEO, they're just one component among lots of other factors, including quality content, backlinks, page load, mobile friendliness, and things like that. So it's recommended to adopt best practices for URLs while also considering the broader aspects of the SEO optimization for your website. So how do you pick a good domain name? Picking a good domain name is an important step in establishing your online presence. So some tips include keeping it simple and memorable. So aim for a domain name that's really easy to remember and pronounce. You want to avoid complex spelling, hyphens, numbers that might confuse people, and having a catchy and memorable domain can help users recall and revisit your website. Using keywords in URLs and also as part of your domain can be really beneficial, as it provides additional information to search engines about the content of your web pages. Ensure that the keywords that you include in your URL is relevant to your website as a whole, and make sure that's human readable as well. And also get feedback. So once you have a few options, seek feedback from colleagues, friends, or even your target audience, because they can provide valuable insights and help you make a more informed decision. And ensure your domain name doesn't infringe on any existing trademarks. So conduct a search to see if there are any well-established brands or trademarks with a similar name to avoid any potential legal issues down the line. Choosing a domain name is a really important decision, and it can have a long-lasting impact on your online presence. So take your time, brainstorm some ideas, and consider the factors mentioned before to select a domain name that aligns with your goals and resonates with your audience as well. So now let's talk about web hosting. As mentioned before, after you purchase your domain name, the next thing that you might want to do is set up your web hosting. And that's a wrap on our journey through the fascinating world of website domains and web hosting. I hope this video provided you with valuable insights into the importance of choosing the right domain name and how it impacts your online presence, and also how to navigate between the different web hosting options that you have out there. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. And for more exciting content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or you need further assistance, drop them in the comment below. Thanks for watching, and until the next time. Starting off, what is web hosting? So web hosting is a service that allows individuals or organizations to make their website accessible on the internet. Web hosting companies provide space on a server to store files and data that make up a website, and then they make that space available to users who want to publish their websites online. So when you sign up for a web hosting service, you are essentially renting space on a server, and that server is connected to the internet. And this allows you to store websites, files, and data on the server, and makes your website accessible to visitors all around the world. Web hosting services typically provide features like website builders, domain registration, email hosting, and technical support. And as mentioned before, there are different types of web hosting services available, including shared hosting, dedicated hosting, and VPS hosting. And each of them have their own advantages and disadvantages depending on the needs of the user. Starting off with, the first and most common type of hosting is shared hosting. So shared hosting is a type of web hosting in which multiple websites share the resources of one single server. That means that your website is hosted alongside other websites on the same server, and that you share resources such as CPU, RAM, and disk space with those other websites as well. To show you what that kind of looks like, so in this example, you can see the server is here, and there's 3 different websites, and they're all using the server resources, the resources from the same server. They're all sharing these resources as well. So your site is hosted on the same server as other sites as well. It's generally the most affordable option and popular type of hosting, and it's a good option for small businesses, individuals, and organizations that are just starting out and don't require a lot of resources or high levels of customization. Since the cost of the server is divided among multiple users, shared hosting is usually more affordable than other types of hosting, but there are some potential drawbacks to shared hosting. One, for example, is that you are sharing resources with other websites. So if, for example, if this website on the server experiences like a sudden spike in traffic or uses up a lot of resources, it can slow down or even temporarily crash your website as well. Additionally, you have less control over server configurations and customization options as well, and this can be limited in terms of the amount of storage and bandwidth that you can use. To go into a bit more detail, some benefits of shared web hosting, one of them is affordability. So as mentioned before, shared hosting is generally the most affordable type of web hosting since the cost of the server is divided among multiple users. And this makes it a great option for individuals, small businesses, and organizations with limited budgets. And it's quite easy to use. So shared hosting is usually very user-friendly, with many hosting providers offering tools and features that can make it easy to set up and manage your website. You don't need to have technical knowledge or expertise to get started with shared hosting. Another advantage is maintenance. So with shared hosting, the hosting provider is responsible for maintaining the server and ensuring that it is running smoothly. And this means that you don't need to worry about performing updates, backups, or security patches yourself. Another benefit is support. So most shared hosting providers offer customer support to help you with any issues or questions that you might have. This can be especially helpful for those who are new to web hosting or have limited technical experience. And lastly, scalability. So a lot of shared hosting plans offer the ability to easily upgrade your resources like storage and bandwidth as your website grows and needs to change. And that means that you can start with a smaller plan and scale up as necessary without having to switch to a different type of hosting. How much you're able to scale up really depends on the type of hosting provider you're using, but it is generally kind of a good way to kind of scale up as well. It can be a good option shared hosting is a really good option for affordable, if you're looking for affordability and easy to use, but it's important to carefully consider your website's needs and traffic levels before choosing a hosting plan, as shared hosting may not be sufficient for a high traffic website or those with more complex requirements. So this falls under sort of some of the drawbacks, which is limited resourcing. So because you are sharing server resources with other websites, your website may experience slower load times or performance issues during periods of high traffic or resource usage. This can be especially problematic if you have a high traffic website or require a lot of resources. There's also a slight lack of control. With shared hosting, you have limited control over server configurations and customization options. And this can be a drawback if you require a specific software configuration or need to make advanced customizations to your server environment. You won't have that kind of control with a shared web hosting provider. And the other drawback is security. So shared hosting can pose some security risks, as a vulnerability in one website on the same server can potentially affect other websites on that server as well. So it's important to choose a reputable hosting provider that takes security seriously and implements measures to protect their customers on all their servers. Another drawback is restrictions, and this is similar to sort of lack of control. But a lot of shared hosting providers have restrictions on the type of software or applications that can be installed on the servers, and that can limit the functionality of your website as well. And lastly, some email issues. So some shared hosting providers may have limitations on email sending or receiving, which can cause issues with email functionality in general. Overall, shared hosting can be a great option for those looking for an affordable and easy to use hosting solution, but it's important to choose carefully, consider your website needs and potential limitations before choosing a hosting plan. So when it comes to shared web hosting, there are lots of shared hosting providers available, and the best one for you will depend on your specific needs and budgets. But here are some popular shared hosting providers currently out there. One option is Bluehost. So Bluehost is a really popular shared hosting provider that offers affordable plans, easy to use website builders, and excellent customer support. They are also a recommended recommended by WordPress as a top hosting provider. So if you are planning to use WordPress as your main CMS, then this might sort of strengthen your decision using Bluehost. Some details about Bluehost shared hosting plans. If you go onto the website and go into the shared hosting page, you can see their plans laid out here. They offer 4 hosting plans: Basic, Choice Plus, Online Store, and Pro. The basic plans includes one website, unmetered bandwidth, and a free domain name for the first year as well. The Plus plan includes unlimited websites, bandwidth and email accounts, as well as domain privacy and site backups as well. And the Choice Plus plan includes all of the Plus features, as well as code guard, basic backup, and domain privacy protection as well. So they've got a range of different hosting options, and you can sort of see that they're kind of priced as well. They're also really good for WordPress hosting. So Bluehost offer shared hosting platforms specifically designed for WordPress users, and these come from and these plans come with unlimited bandwidth as well. They come with pre-installed WordPress as well, automatic update, and they also have specific WordPress support as well. Their shared hosting plans comes with a range of features, including a website builder, a really easy to use cPanel, email accounts, SSL certificates, and a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. They also offer 24/7 customer support via phone, chat, or email. In terms of the performance, Bluehost shared hosting plans come with unlimited bandwidth, but they do have some restrictions on CPU usage and memory usage. However, they use SSDs or solid-state drives and a content delivery network, otherwise known as a CDN, to help improve website speed and performance. So they are still quite fast with their load times as well. Overall, Bluehost shared hosting service offers a wide range of features and plans to suit different website needs and budgets. Their focus on WordPress hosting and website builders makes them a good choice for a beginner or those looking for an easy-to-use shared hosting option as well. Up next is HostGator. So HostGator is a web hosting provider that offers a variety of hosting services, including shared hosting. And here are some details on their hosting services. So HostGators offer 3 shared hosting plans. They have the Hatchling, Baby, and the Business Plan, otherwise known as the e-commerce plan. The Hatchling plan includes 1 domain, unlimited storage, bandwidth, and an email account as well. The Baby plan includes unlimited storage. They have up to 5 websites, and they have $500 Google Ad Spend match credit, as well as $100 Microsoft advertising credit as well. And then you have the Business plan that has all of the features of the Baby plan, with a lot more like positive SSL upgrades, dedicated IP addresses as well, and some SEO tools as well. So in terms of features, all of the plans offer quite a lot of features as well. They all come with the features like website builder, an easy-to-use cPanel, one-click installs for popular applications like WordPress or Joomla and things like that, and 24/7 customer support via phone, chat, or email. They also offer a money-back guarantee as well, similar to Bluehost. And it's also similar to Bluehost. They have plans specifically designed for WordPress users, and these plans come with pre-installed WordPress, automatic updates, and WordPress-specific support. In terms of their pricing, their hosting plans, you can see they start at $275 a month, and they can go up to $525 a month, and these are usually introductory offers. Some of the drawbacks of HostGator, though, is that their renewal fees tend to be a little bit more expensive as well. Overall, HostGator's shared hosting services offer a range of features and plans to suit different website needs and budgets. Their focus on customer support and website builders make them a good choice for beginners or those looking for an easy-to-use hosting solution. So up next is VPS hosting. VPS stands for Virtual Private Server, and it's a type of hosting that provides a virtual server environment for a website. So this is essentially what it looks like. So with VPS hosting, you start off with the actual resources. So a physical server is divided. This physical server here is divided into multiple virtual servers, each with its own dedicated resources. So CPU, RAM, storage, each of these virtual servers have their own dedicated amount of them. And that means that on a web VPS, that a website on a VPS has access to more resources than shared hosting, which can result in improved performance and reliability as well. With VPS hosting, you have a lot more control over the server environment than shared hosting. With VPS, you can sort of customize your server settings, install software, applications, and access the server via remote desktop. This makes VPS a good hosting choice for users who require a little bit more flexibility and control over their hosting environment. VPS hosting also allows you to easily scale up or down your resources as needed, and that makes it a good choice for websites that experience lots of kind of fluctuations in traffic or require additional resources during peak seasons. In terms of security, VPS provides a higher level of security than shared hosting, as each virtual server is isolated from another virtual server. And it's also isolated from the actual physical server itself. That means if one website is compromised, it won't affect the others that are on the same server as well. In terms of pricing, VPS hosting is generally more expensive than shared hosting, but it's less expensive than dedicated hosting. Pricing varies depend on the amount of resources needed, and many VPS hosting providers offer different plans to suit different needs and budgets. Overall, VPS hosting provides a good balance of resources, control, and scalability, as well as security as well, making it a popular choice for medium-sized businesses, high-traffic websites, or even users who require more control over their hosting environment than shared hosting providers can. Some of the benefits of VPS hosting, as we mentioned before, is dedicated resources. So VPS hosting provides dedicated resources like CPU, RAM, storage, bandwidth, each to the individual virtual server. And that means that resources aren't shared with other websites on the same physical server, and it results in improved performance and reliability. Then you have scalability. So VPS hosting allows users to easily scale up or down the resources as needed. And this means that if a website experiences a sudden surge in traffic, additional resources can be added to handle the increased demand. It's also quite reliable. So VPS hosting can be more reliable than shared hosting, as websites on a VPS are not affected by the performance or security issues of other websites on the same server. And then you have control as well. So VPS hosting provides users with more control over their server environment than shared hosting, and users can customize the server settings, install software applications, and access the server via remote desktop as well. And lastly, you have customizability. So VPS hosting allows users to customize their new server environment to their needs, like installing custom software and configuring their server settings. And that's not something that's offered with shared hosting as well. Saying that, though, there are some potential drawbacks of VPS hosting. One of the main difference between VPS hosting and shared hosting is that with VPS hosting, a lot more technical knowledge is required. VPS hosting requires more technical knowledge and expertise, as users are responsible for managing their own server environment, and this includes installing software, configuring server settings, and handling server maintenance tasks. The cost of VPS hosting can be more expensive than shared hosting, although it is generally less expensive than dedicated hosting. So depending on the hosting provider and the resources needed, the cost of VPS hosting can add up over time. Then with server management as well, with VPS hosting, users are responsible for managing their own server environment, and this can include handling security updates, backups, and server maintenance tasks as well. This can become really time consuming and may require additional technical knowledge. There are some restrictions as well. And with limited scalability. So while VPS allows for easy resource scaling, there are still some limitations and restrictions on the amount of resources that can be allocated to a virtual server. This means that with websites that are very high traffic or resource requirements, may eventually need to switch to dedicated hosting as well. Overall, VPS hosting is a good option for users who need more resources and control than sharing hosting can provide, but they can't exactly cover the cost yet of a dedicated hosting provider, but just to be aware of the potential drawbacks to consider, like the cost, server management, and technical knowledge that's going to be required. So when it comes to web hosting providers that offer VPS services, there are lots that are out there. They will offer a range of VPS hosting plans with varying resources, pricing, and features. So it's important to research and compare the options to find the best fit for your needs. One example is HostGator. So HostGator is a really popular web hosting provider that offers VPS hosting services. And some details about their hosting plans. They offer 8 different hosting plans, ranging from 1 vCPU all the way up to 8 vCPU as well. Prices can range from £3 a month to about £60 a month, so there is a variation of the pricing as well. Each VPS plan comes with a dedicated resources including CPU, RAM, storage, and bandwidth, and users could choose between different operating systems like Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian, and Fedora. HostGator VPS hosting plans are scalable, which means users can easily upgrade or downgrade their resources as they need. And this allows users to start with a smaller plan and scale up as their website grows. They also have lots of security features, including DDoS protection, firewalls, and SSL certificates. They also offer daily backups and a 24/7 monitoring system to ensure that the security and stability of the VPS hosting environment. Hostinger also have a really good customer support, so they offer 24/7 customer support via live chat and email, and they also provide a knowledge base with tutorials and articles to help users manage their VPS servers. Overall, Hostinger's VPS hosting plans provide a good balance of resources, scalability, control, security, and affordability, making them a really popular choice for users who need more resources and control than shared hosting can provide, but they don't want to invest in dedicated hosting. Another popular VPS hosting provider is InMotion. So InMotion is a host provider that have quite a few hosting plans and quite a few different billing cycles as well. Their hosting offers 4 different hosting plans ranging from $10 a month to about $45 a month, but these again are introductory offers, and these are offers where if you were to just purchase on a 3-year cycle as well, so obviously the longer that you have your billing cycle, the more savings that there are in that. In terms of the resources, each VPS plan comes with dedicated resources including CPU, RAM, storage, and bandwidth, and users can choose between different operating systems like CentOS, Ubuntu, Debian as well. All of their hosting plans come with a cPanel, which is a really popular and easy to use interface for managing web hosting accounts, and users can also access their VPS server via SSH or remote desktop. In terms of scalability, InMotion's VPS hosting plans are scalable, which means that they can upgrade and downgrade their resources as needed. So you can start off with a smaller plan and then scale up as you grow. And in terms of their customer support, InMotion offers 24/7 customer support via phone, live chat, and email. They also provide a knowledge base similar to Hostinger, that's filled with kind of tutorials and articles to help you manage your VPS servers as well. Overall, InMotion's VPS hosting plan provides a good balance of resources, control, security, and customer support. So they're a very popular choice for users who need a little bit more resources and control than shared hosting can provide, but don't want to invest just yet in dedicated hosting. Next up then we have dedicated hosting. So dedicated hosting is a type of web hosting in which the client rents an entire physical server that is dedicated solely to the website or application. So this is sort of how it works. So you see you have your website here, and it has full control over this one server. So this one server is dedicated only to this one website. So in dedicated hosting, the client has complete ownership and control over the server, including the hardware, software, and operating system. So that means in terms of server resources, the client has access to all of the resources that are available on that server, including CPU, RAM, storage, and bandwidth. This allows for high performance and high fast load times, even for high traffic websites or applications. On top of that, then it means there's more room for customizability. So with dedicated hosting, the client has complete control over the server configuration and includes choosing the operating system, installing custom software, configuring any security settings as well. In terms of security as well, dedicated hosting offers a high level of security as the client has complete control over the server and can implement themselves advanced security measures like firewalls and intrusion detection systems. In terms of technical support, most dedicated hosting providers offer 24/7 technical support, which can be essential for managing a complex server environment. But overall, the technical support really comes internally. So you, either yourself or someone you may need to hire someone to manage and support you in the managing of your dedicated server. And in terms of pricing, dedicated hoster is typically more expensive than any other type of web hosting, as the client is paying for the entire physical server as well as the associated maintenance and support costs as well. Some advantages of dedicated web hosting is the high performance. So with dedicated web hosting, the server resources are not shared with other websites. This means that your website can handle high levels of traffic without ever slowing down. Then customizability as well. So dedicated hosting allows for greater control and flexibility in terms of server configuration and software installation, and this can be particularly important for businesses with specific technical requirements. Next up, you have security. So with dedicated hosting, you can have complete control over security measures like firewalls, encryption, intrusion detection, which can help protect your website and data. It's a lot more reliable because you don't have to worry about other websites on the server impacting your website's uptime or performance. And then it's also scalable as well. So dedicated hosting can be more easily scaled than other types of hosting as you add resources or upgrade to a higher tier plan as your business grows. There are also some drawbacks of dedicated hosting, and the main one being the higher cost. So dedicated hosting is a lot more expensive than shared hosting or VPS hosting, as the client is renting an entire physical server. And as mentioned before, technical experience is mainly down to yourself. So managing a dedicated server can be more complex than other types of hosting, and you would need a certain level of technical expertise. And this can be a challenge for businesses without an in-house IT team or technical staff as well. Maintenance can also be a little bit more time consuming as the client is responsible for maintaining and update the server hardware, software, and security measures, which can be time consuming and also really costly as well. Dedicated hosting is a little bit of overkill for small websites. So dedicated hosting is quite unnecessary for like small websites, blogs, because the resources of the server may not be fully utilized. And lastly, some limited resources is still an issue. So while dedicated hosting provides greater resources than other types of hosting, it's still limited by the physical capacity of the server. And that means if your website experiences unexpected traffic spikes, the server may not be able to handle the load. Overall, dedicated hosting is a good choice for businesses or organizations that require high levels of performance, customizability, and security. But you need to have the right budget and technical expertise to manage a dedicated server. But for small websites or businesses with limited budgets or technical experience, it's not one that's recommended at all. Other types of hosting like VPS or shared hosting might be better. There are lots of popular dedicated hosting providers available on the market. One of the more popular ones is Liquid Web. Liquid Web is a premium hosting provider that offers a fully managed dedicated hosting service designed to provide customers with high levels of performance, security, and customization. Some of the features of Liquid Web's hosting plans include a fully managed service. So Liquid Web's dedicated hosting service includes a team of expert technicians who manage the server hardware, software, and security measures, allowing customers to focus on their business instead of server maintenance. They also have high performance servers as well. So Liquid Web uses the latest server hardware, including Intel processors with SSD storage as well. And this kind of provides customers with fast and reliable hosting. They also have multiple data center locations located in the US, Europe, and Asia. So that provides customers with the option to choose a server location that's closest to their target audience. And their dedicated hosting service allows for a high degree of customization, including the ability to choose the operating system, control panel, and software applications installed on the server as well. Liquid Web have excellent customer service. Their support team is available 24/7 to assist customers with any issues or questions that they may have. And lastly, security. So Liquid Web provides customers with advanced security measures like firewalls, DDoS protection, and SSL certificates to help protect their website and data. Overall, Liquid Web's dedicated hosting service is a really good choice for businesses or organizations that require a high level of performance, security, and customization, as long as they have the budget for a premium hosting service as well. So as well as Liquid Web, GoDaddy is another provider that offers dedicated hosting service. It's a really popular web hosting provider anyway, and they offer dedicated hosting services designed for businesses and organizations that require the high levels of performance and security and control that we talked about. Some features of GoDaddy's dedicated hosting providing service include managed service. So GoDaddy's dedicated hosting service includes a team of expert technicians who manage the server hardware, software, and security measures, allowing customers to focus on their business instead of server maintenance. They have multiple data locations, so they have data centers located in the US, Europe, and Asia. So that means you have the option to choose a server that's located closest to your target audience. GoDaddy uses the latest server hardware, including Intel processors, SSD storage, and that provides customers with fast and reliable hosting. And you have, and their hosting allows for a high degree of customization as well, including the ability to choose the operating system, control panel, software applications as well. Similar to Liquid Web, GoDaddy does offer customers with advanced security measures like firewalls, DDoS protection, and SSL certificate, and their customer support team is available 24/7 to help with any issues or questions that you might have. So overall, GoDaddy's dedicated hosting service is a really good choice for businesses or organizations that require high levels of performance, security, and control. Overall, their dedicated hosting service is a good choice for businesses or organizations that require high levels of performance, security, and control, and they want a well-known and reputable hosting provider. But it's worth noting that some users have reported some issues with customer support and pricing transparency, so it's important you do your research and read reviews as well before making a decision. So now that you understand the different types of hosting providers, some of their hosting platforms, the advantages of each type of hosting, and some hosting providers that provide those types of hosting, you need to also think about what to consider when deciding what type of hosting to use. There are several key factors to consider, and some of the main things are website requirements. So the first thing to consider is the specific requirements of your website. This includes factors like the amount of traffic you expect, the size of your website, and any special software or applications you need to run. Performance is another critical factor in website hosting, as slow load times and downtime can hurt your website's user experience and search engine rankings as well. So you want to consider the type of hosting that will offer the best performance for your size of website. Budget is an important consideration whenever you are choosing a hosting plan, as different types of hosting have varying costs, as we've seen before. So make sure to choose a plan that fits your budget and also offers the features and performance that you need. You also need to look at your own kind of technical expertise that you have, because depending on the type of hosting you choose, you may need to have the technical experience or expertise you needed to manage and maintain your server. So make sure you have the necessary skills or can hire someone to manage your hosting if you need to. And you also need to consider scalability. So consider whether the hosting plan that you choose can easily accommodate growth and increase traffic over time. Some hosting providers offers plans that can be easily scaled up as your website grows. And lastly, security. So website security is important to protect your website and your users' data. Consider those security measures provided by the hosting provider, like firewalls, SSL certificates, and backup options. By considering these factors, you can choose the type of hosting that best fits your website needs and your budget as well. And that's a wrap on today's video on website URLs, domain names, and also web hosting. I hope you find this video insightful. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the section below, or if you have any ideas on what you would like us to cover next, please let us know. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.